All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastav. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds youth power of the country, calls it the strong pillar of New India. Says in the last 8 years, government has left no stone unturned to empower the youth. Yoga is invaluable gift of ancient Indian tradition, says Prime Minister. Urges people to make yoga part of their daily lives as it has immense benefits. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal calls upon WTO to send strong message to rich to care for poor, vulnerable and marginalized people. Addresses ministerial meeting of G33 at 12th WTO Ministerial Conference, Geneva. BJP sweeps Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council elections to retain power. Biennial election for 4 seats of Karnataka Legislative Council to be held today. For upcoming presidential election, Bharatiya Janata Party authorizes its President JP Nadu and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to hold consultations with political parties. Schools in Tamil Nadu and Telangana reopen today after annual summer vacations with COVID precautions. India Meteorological Department predicts heat wave conditions to continue in Punjab, Haryana, Delhi and southeast Uttar Pradesh during next 2 days. In Khelo India Youth Games 2021, Haryana regains top position in medal tally yesterday with 118 medals. Maharashtra slips to second position. India's great run at ongoing Chateauroux Para Shooting World Cup continues as medal tally goes up to 12. Indian weightlifter Sanapati Guru Nadu strikes gold at IWF Youth World Championships in Leon, Mexico yesterday. In second cricket 2020 international of 5-match series, South Africa beat India by 4 wickets in Cuttack to take a 2-0 lead. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Jan Utsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. Coming to the 87th question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz in English. Name the freedom fighter, popularly known as Lok Nayak, who translated Gandhiji's autobiography, The Story of My Experiments with Truth, into Assamese. To repeat the question, name the freedom fighter, popularly known as Lok Nayak, who translated Gandhiji's autobiography, The Story of My Experiments with Truth, into Assamese. Listeners can send their responses to the question over WhatsApp on 8826546262, that is 8826546262, or through email on amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has lauded the youth power of the country and called it strong pillar of New India. He said in the last 8 years, the government has left no stone unturned to empower the youth. Mr. Modi said, India's Yuva Shakti is the greatest strength and said the country's youth is excelling in different sectors and contributing to national progress. Mr. Modi has shared the details of the government's efforts for youth development in the last 8 years. From entrepreneurship to sports, every field is now becoming accessible to youth from all sections of society. He said the NDA government has enabled the youth to achieve their dreams and fulfill their potential. Mr. Modi said every necessary initiative has been taken for the youth. These include new education policy, expansion of IITs and IIMs, new startups and unicorns, and Khelo India Kendra. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged people to mark Yoga Day and make yoga a part of their daily lives. In a tweet yesterday, Mr. Modi said, in the coming days, the world will mark International Day of Yoga. He said, yoga has many benefits. The Prime Minister has said that yoga is an invaluable gift of ancient Indian tradition. The 8th International Day of Yoga will be celebrated across the world on the 21st of June.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has said that when the world is facing severe challenges and expects the WTO to deliver solutions, the 12th Ministerial Conference must send a strong message that the rich care for the poor, vulnerable and the marginalized people. Mr. Goyal said this in Geneva at the ministerial meeting of G33 at the 12th WTO Ministerial Conference. He said India strongly believes that the WTO should not negotiate rules on non-trade related subjects like climate change and gender, which legitimately fall within the domain of other intergovernmental organizations.
India strongly believes that the WTO should not negotiate rules on non-trade related subjects like climate change, gender, etc., which legitimately fall within the domain of other intergovernmental organizations.
Mr. Goyal said India reiterates Prime Minister Narendra Modi's clarion call for sustainable living through Lifestyle for Environment, LIFE, a movement aimed at promoting environment-conscious lifestyle, focusing on mindful and deliberate utilization. The minister said that World Trade Organization WTO reform should focus on development whose process should be precise, transparent and inclusive, and the WTO should embrace a people-first approach to trade. The Bharatiya Janata Party has won all the 26 Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council seats for which elections were held. With this, the BJP retained power in the Autonomous Council as the party had won the last elections too in 2017. The Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council election, which was held on Wednesday, recorded a voter turnout of 77.96% and a total of 154 candidates were in fray for the 26 seats. Apart from BJP and Congress, other parties contesting the polls included the newly formed All-Party Hills Leaders Conference APHLC, the Autonomous State Demand Committee ASDC, and the Aam Aadmi Party AAP, making it a multi-cornered fight. BJP had contested on all 26 seats, the Congress on 24 seats, AAP in 10 and CPI-ML had contested on 15 seats. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has thanked the people of Karbi Anglong for their continuous faith in the BJP and assured them that BJP will keep working for Assam's progress. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, "The results in Karbi Anglong are historic." He said, "The efforts of BJP Karyakartas have been outstanding. Kudos to them."
The biennial election to the 4 seats of Karnataka Legislative Council will be held today. The voting will be held from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Northwest and South Graduates constituencies and Northwest and West Teachers constituencies. The ruling BJP and the opposition Congress have fielded one candidate in each of 4 constituencies, and JDS has fielded its candidates in 3 constituencies, excluding Northwest Graduates constituency. The counting of votes will be held on June the 15th. More from our Bengaluru correspondent.
The former chairman of Legislative Council, Basuraj Haratti, who left JDS and joined BJP recently, is contesting for the record 8th successive term from West Teachers constituency. He is pitted against Basuraj Gurikar from Congress and Srishali Ganatini of JDS. In Northwest Teachers constituency, the fight is between Arun Shahapur of BJP, who is seeking re-election, against Prakash Hukkeri of Congress and Chandrasekhar Isapalon of JDS. While in South Graduates constituency, MV Ravishankar of BJP is facing Madhu G. Madegowda of Congress and H.K. Ramo of JDS. In Northwest Graduates constituency seat, Nirani Hanamant Rudrappa of BJP is pitted against Sunil Anappa Sank of Congress. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
For the upcoming presidential election, the Bharatiya Janata Party has authorized its President J.P. Nadu and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to hold consultations with different political parties. The term of the office of President Ramnath Kovind is ending on the 24th of July. In a statement, BJP said both the senior leaders of the party will discuss with NDA partners, UPA-aligned parties, other political parties and independents on the president's election.
लेकर भारत की सूरत बदली है, कदम कदम पे जनता मोदी जी के साथ चली है। 8 साल में हमने संभव को संभव कर डाला है, जब उगे सूरज का देखो पश्चिम में भी उजाला है। रात गई अब दिन आएगा, अभी तो ये बस भोर है। ये भारत का
Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, India emerged as the pharmacy of the world during the COVID pandemic. Supply of medicines and vaccines, particularly to the global south, earned enormous goodwill. In April this year, India and other Quad nations, United States, Australia and Japan handed over 2 lakh made-in-India vaccine doses to Thailand under the grouping's vaccine partnership. In the recently held Quad Leaders Summit in Tokyo, the Quad leaders praised India's vaccine diplomacy. Our correspondent has filed this report.
India's helping hand during the trying times of COVID has been appreciated by many world leaders. Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia said that India has supplied COVID vaccines to more than 150 countries at an affordable rate.
हमने हेल्थ को हमेशा सेवा के साथ देखा और इसीलिए ही जब कोविड क्राइसिस चल रहा था, मैंने इंटरनेशनल प्लेटफॉर्म पर जाके कहा दुनिया के पास मेडिसिन नहीं थी और ऐसी स्थिति में हमने लॉकडाउन होते हुए भी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करवा के देश की रिक्वायरमेंट को पूरा करके, और मैंने इंटरनेशनल प्लेटफॉर्म पर कहा कि उस वक्त हमने प्राइस हाइक नहीं किया और हमने क्वालिटी के साथ भी बार्गेनिंग नहीं किया, दुनिया को मदद की थी। हमने वैक्सीन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग किया, 100 से अधिक कंट्री को हमने वैक्सीन सप्लाई।
During the peak of the COVID pandemic, Vande Bharat mission helped bring back around 1,83 lakh stranded Indians in over 2,17,000 flights. Government has also readily sprung into action to rescue its nationals successfully from war-hit nations time and again. Under Operation Ganga, over 22,500 Indians returned safely from Ukraine earlier this year. As part of Operation Rahat, over 4,700 Indians returned home safely from Yemen in 2015. With Shweta Kumari, Suparna Saitya, IIR News, Delhi.
One Lashkar-e-Toiba LET terrorist was gunned down by J&K police in an encounter that broke out last evening at Krisbal Palpura in Sangam area of Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir. According to police, the slain terrorist was identified as Adil Pare of Gandarbal, who was involved in the killing of 2 J&K police personnel, Ghulam Hassan Dar in Sangam and Saifullah Qadri in Anchar of Sora area in the outskirts of Srinagar city.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds youth power of the country, calls it strong pillar of New India. Says in the last 8 years, government has left no stone unturned to empower the youth. Yoga is invaluable gift of ancient Indian tradition, says Prime Minister. Urges people to make yoga part of their daily lives as it has immense benefits. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal calls upon WTO to send strong message to rich to care for poor, vulnerable and marginalized people, addresses ministerial meeting of G33 at the 12th WTO Ministerial Conference, Geneva. BJP sweeps Karbi Anglong Autonomous Council elections to retain power. Biennial election for 4 seats of Karnataka Legislative Council to be held today. For upcoming presidential election, Bharatiya Janata Party authorizes its President JP Nadu and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to hold consultations with political parties. Schools in Tamil Nadu and Telangana reopened today after annual summer vacations with COVID precautions. India Meteorological Department predicts heatwave conditions to continue in Punjab, Haryana, Delhi and southeast Uttar Pradesh during the next 2 days. In Khelo India Youth Games 2021, Haryana regained top position in medal tally yesterday with 118 medals. Maharashtra slips to second position. India's great run at the ongoing Chateau Parachuting World Cup continues as medal tally goes up to 12. Indian weightlifter Sanapathy Guru Naidu strikes gold at IWF Youth World Championships in Leon, Mexico yesterday, and in the second cricket T20 International 5-match series, South Africa beat India by 4 wickets in Cuttack to take a 2-0 lead. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर
8700014242।
Schools in Tamil Nadu reopened today after the annual summer vacation. The authorities arranged for extensive cleaning and preparatory works in the school premises in advance for the reopening. Meanwhile, the State Health Minister, Ma Subramanian, said there is no relaxation from the COVID precautionary measures in the state, including for the schools. We have a report.
With peak summer making a retreat in southern parts of India, schools in Tamil Nadu see the reopening today after a long vacation. Last 2 years faced partial disruptions due to COVID pandemic. This year, though the daily numbers of COVID infections are showing a marginal uptick, school officials have been asked to take precautions to avoid any local clusters in their institutions. Textbooks for this academic year for all the classes have been readied by the authorities. Parents hope a new beginning in the academic journey of their children, which they sincerely believe will be free from any road bumps. Jai Singh, AIR News, Chennai.
In Telangana, schools under all managements are set to reopen for the academic year 2022-23 from today after the summer vacation. State Education Minister P. Sabita Indra Reddy said there was no extension to the summer vacation and instructed all the schools to make necessary arrangements for reopening from today. She said the state government was introducing English medium instruction in class 1 to 8 in all government and local body schools from this academic year. India Meteorological Department has predicted that heat wave conditions are likely to continue in isolated places over Punjab, Haryana, Delhi and southeast Uttar Pradesh during the next 2 days. Talking exclusively to AIR News, senior scientist in IMD R.K. Jainamani said that there will be no major heat wave from the 16th of this month over Punjab, Haryana and Delhi.
The heatwave condition is still continuing over national capital Delhi and adjoining areas of Punjab and Haryana. Major part of India is now heatwave free. Madhya Pradesh has already reported pre-monsoon thunderstorm and temperature are down now 41-42. Also Vidarbha is not having any heatwave. Now prediction is that because of the easterly wind at the lower level and pre-monsoon thunderstorm starting from 16th, so these Punjab, Haryana, Delhi may have a heatwave for today and tomorrow, and from 16th June the heatwave is going to abate actually. That means there will be no major heat wave spell for this summer 2022 from 16th June onward.
In Maharashtra, Regional Meteorological Centre Mumbai has said that the southwest monsoon has further advanced into remaining parts of central Arabian Sea, most parts of Konkan including Mumbai, some parts of Madhya Maharashtra and some more parts of Karnataka. The monsoon arrived in Mumbai on Saturday, meeting its normal onset date of June the 11th. After remaining dry since the beginning of the month, the city started receiving pre-monsoon showers from Thursday evening. For the next 48 hours, the IMD has forecast cloudy sky with light to moderate spells of rain or thunderstorm. It has also said that there is a possibility of occasional intense spells. And now, let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
आजादी का सफर with AIR News।
Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
It was on the 13th of June 1943 that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose arrived from Germany to Tokyo and declared his intention of ending British rule in the subcontinent. He aimed to attack the eastern regions of India, and to this end, Netaji went to Singapore on the 2nd of July. In October 1943, at the famous Cathay Cinema Hall in Singapore, Subhash Chandra Bose formally announced establishment of the Provisional Government of Free India. Netaji declared,
"It will be the task of the Provisional Government to launch and conduct the struggle that will bring about the expulsion of the British and their allies from the soil of India."
The Provisional Government of Free India gave a clarion call for independence and emboldened the brave freedom fighters to rise against the then British Empire with more gusto and courage. The activities of the Indian National Army under the leadership of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose shook the foundation of the British Empire.
We remember Gandhian freedom fighter Nadu, who was martyred on the 13th of June 1930. A resident of district Surat, Gujarat, Nadu took part in the Dharasana Salt Satyagraha in May 1930.
During the Salt Satyagraha in 1930, when Gandhiji decided on a raid of the Dharasana salt works, he wrote to the Viceroy, Lord Irwin, and told him about his plan. Gandhiji was arrested on the 4th of May 1930 and was detained without trial near Pune.
However, the Dharasana Satyagraha went ahead as decided and planned by Gandhiji, with Abbas Tayyibji, a 76-years-old retired judge, leading the march with Kasturba Gandhi at his side. Both Abbas Tayyibji and Kasturba Gandhi were also arrested before reaching Dharasana and sentenced to 3 months imprisonment. After their arrests, the Satyagrahis continued the march under the leadership of Sarojini Naidu, who warned them,
"You must not use any violence under any circumstance. You will be beaten, but you must not resist. You must not even raise a hand to ward off blows."
The armed forces clubbed the Satyagrahis with steel-tipped lathis on the 22nd of May 1930. A large number of Satyagrahis were injured badly, including Nadu, who died of his injuries on the 13th of June 1930. We salute the great martyr.
We also remember independence activist Gunisi Singh, who took part in the First War of Independence